Out of desperation and greed, Microsoft had taken millions of people's memories and trashed Skype. So, why did Microsoft pull the plug? Skype was actually doomed the moment Microsoft acquired them. Let's rewind the clock. Our story begins 22 years ago. In 2003, you may say that Finding Nemo was the motivation behind Skype. A single phone call would have solved it. Marlin was just afraid of going over his minutes. In August of that year, Nicholas Zenstrom and Janice Friss launched Skype. The concept of free global voice call over the internet using voice over IP on a peer-to-peer network was revolutionary.
1,000 anytime minutes, and every one of them has rollover. And now get this cool Motorola phone, only from Singular Wireless.
For those who did not know, people used to pay by the minute and pay for each text message sent out and text received. Depending on the day, there would be surcharges. Companies like AT&T would have deals where phone calls and texts after 7 p.m. would be free.
I was on a 300-minute wireless plan. Some months I'd be under by 100. Did I get to pay less? No. Did I get to keep those minutes? No. But if I went over, slammed with a bill almost twice as high. Frustrating? Yeah.
I remember my mom got a $600 phone bill because of texts and phone calls. So when Skype promised free phone calls at any time of the day, it was a no-brainer. In 2004, they sweetened the deal by expanding its capabilities beyond voice, adding instant messaging and file sharing. Millions began to use Skype, discovering a new way to connect with people across distance without the barrier of high cost. A significant development arrived in December 2005, 5 years before FaceTime. Skype introduced video calling. Suddenly, face-to-face conversation became a reality for many. The era of catfishing started to slowly diminish. If you wanted to know if a person was real, you would simply ask for a Skype video call. Be mindful that all this was completely free. Behind the scenes, eBay was rubbing their hands together. The online auction giant saw a perfect opportunity and acquired Skype for $2.6 billion. Skype's growth on the surface was undeniable. By April 2006, it reached 100 million registered users, a testament to its appeal in making long-distance communication more accessible. In 2009, 1 year before FaceTime, the mismatch with eBay became apparent. eBay's plan was to allow sellers and consumers to have a better communication platform, but the sellers at the time were sketchy, so a lot of scammers avoid using Skype. They were catfishing. Because of this imbalance, eBay made a phone call and sold it for $2.9 billion. Besides being tossed around, in 2010, Skype had become a dominant force, over 600 million registered users and reportedly handling 13% of all international voice call minutes. With all the success that Skype was having, on the other side of the world, I couldn't say the same for Microsoft. So behind the scenes, Microsoft was suffering. In 2011, Microsoft faced several challenges. Though the company reported strong overall financial results, Microsoft was fighting so many wars. With the rise of smartphones and tablets, which were eating into PC sales, causing a decline globally, they were also struggling with their Windows Phone. Google's Android and Apple iOS had Microsoft's back against the wall. Out of desperation, Microsoft acquired Skype for a staggering $8.5 billion. This was a massive investment, and Microsoft had a grand ambition to deepen its presence in real-time communication. Microsoft desperately needed a strong foothold in consumer communication and aimed to integrate Skype deeply into its Windows, Outlook, and Xbox ecosystem. And crucially, this acquisition prevented rivals like Facebook or Google from snatching up a massive user base. The signs of decline were becoming apparent. In 2012, while Skype maintained its popularity, nobly being the fourth most downloaded free app for the iPhone and iPad, under Microsoft, Skype began its slow, deliberate transition away from its original agile peer-to-peer architecture. This was a fundamental shift that would later be as described as showing the seeds of technical debt, making it harder for Skype to innovate and adapt as quickly as newer, nimbler competitors. Skype would get incremental updates here and there, like live translation and such, but in the year 2017, Microsoft was making it clear that Skype won't be the same anymore. Before Teams was launched, Microsoft was still experimenting with Skype, a significant redesign aimed at a younger demographic. With features like highlights, was widely criticized by its loyal existing user base, who found it bloated and less intuitive. Performance issues also began to surface more noticeably. A few months later, Microsoft launched Teams in March, a platform designed for modern collaboration, which increasingly looked like Skype's internal successor. Skype also completed its move to Microsoft's centralized Azure-based architecture, commencing its departure from its original peer-to-peer roots. In 2008, in response to growing awareness around digital privacy, Skype introduced end-to-end encryption for its private conversation feature, though it wasn't enabled by default for all communications, but that was too little, too late. In 2020, as the world navigated the pandemic, the demand for video communication soared. This period saw a meteoric rise of platforms like Zoom. Zoom was the perfect name because they literally zoomed into our face. The company came out of nowhere for millions of people. For Skype, this should have been a moment to shine, but despite overall surges in video calls, its daily active users number reportedly declined from 40 million to the start of the year to 36 million by 2023. Users cited ongoing experience and performance issues, the very problems that had been brewing since the architectural shift and controversial redesigns. Microsoft's strategic design direction became clearer in 2021 with the retirement of Skype for Business Online in July. Users of this enterprise service were guided to migrate to Microsoft Teams. The internal pivot was undeniable. By 2023, Skype's daily active count stood at around 36 million users. While still a substantial number, it wasn't no 600 million in its peak around 2010. So Teams was going up while Skype was going down. As we approach early 2025, Microsoft Teams has established a user base of 320 million monthly active users, reflecting Microsoft's sustained investment and strategic prioritization of the platform. On Cinco de Mayo, after a few tequilas, Microsoft, just like Apple, built courage and pulled the plug.